Tesla stock is up about 1% today, trading at $256 per share at the time of recording this video. We do have some Tesla stock breaking news to go over that I think is important. And we are continuing to see very bullish option activity and shorts covering on short positions, which is a really good sign for what could be to come. So let's start with this news. Tesla has further extended its 5-year 0% interest loan incentive for the new Model 3 and Model Y purchases in China to the end of October from the end of September. So basically, Tesla is buying down the interest rate. Now, via some of the stimulus measures over in China in recent days, Tesla is buying down less interest rate. And we've seen Tesla over in China really start to ramp up in popularity, in deliveries on a week-by-week basis. The last quarter was very strong. Now that it's even cheaper for Tesla to buy down interest rates, that means margins should likely improve. And if Tesla has to keep buying down interest rates and keep the rate at 0% essentially to keep selling a bunch of Teslas, well, this is the best possible outcome for Tesla given this environment that we are in. And let's face it, Wall Street really doesn't care about anything else besides margins. If Tesla had the same margins today as they did in 2021 or 2022, Tesla's stock would already be at new all-time highs, even though Tesla is expected to deliver only about 1.75 million vehicles this year, when heading into this year, we were expecting over 2 million. It really doesn't matter how many vehicles Tesla produces in the grand scheme of things. It matters about those margins. It matters about EPS in this market environment. So this, I would say, is positive. Tesla has also launched a new virtual power plant with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, the largest municipal utility in the US. Tesla Powerwall owners who opt in will get paid for every kilowatt hour sent to help stabilize the grid. Owners can earn up to $350 per year per Powerwall. Powerwall owners with LADWP can sign up today. US EV sales are projected to hit a record high in Q3 2024, according to new data from Cox Automotive. EV sales now make up nearly 9% of all auto sales in the US, also a record high. And we are expecting around 8% year-over-year growth, which again, in this high interest rate environment, is actually pretty impressive. And apparently a new study was done that shows EVs are much less likely to be stolen. And I know someone that did have their vehicles stolen just a couple of weeks ago, so I find this kind of crazy. It says that for 100,000 Teslas, Model 3s, only one of them on average gets stolen a year. That's compared to 227 GMC Sierras, 96 Chevrolets Silverados, and 38 Jeep Wranglers. I mean, if you don't want your car stolen, you should probably get an EV. Rivian's CEO on partnering with Tesla to use its charging network just said, quote, "Tesla has been a great partner to us. Tesla and Rivian engineers work closely to ensure capability and seamless charging experiences for customers." Ford is releasing a new version of its Blue Cruise hands-free driving software, version 1.4, which it says will let you keep your hands off the wheel twice as long. And this is kind of a comparison to Blue Cruise 1.3 and Blue Cruise 1.0, which apparently is 8 times longer than 1.0, that you now do not need to have your hands on the wheel. I mean, let's be honest, these efforts are really futile in the face of what Tesla's doing. And I think eventually it's going to come down to, you're just going to have to partner with Tesla. You're just going to have to get Tesla's software because everyone else is going to want it. And it actually wouldn't surprise me if one day cars need to have Tesla software, or a software that is able to do fully autonomous driving. It's kind of like the evolution of cars, right? At first, there's skepticism, like seatbelts. Not a lot of people wanted seatbelts at first. But as time went on, people realized, hey, this is better for society, and people now are required to have seatbelts. in cars. I could see something similar transpiring over the next 5 to 10 years with fully autonomous software. And apparently some Cybertruck owners in Florida are using Wade mode after Category 4 Hurricane Helen, up to 140 mile-per-hour winds, made landfall tonight. Wade mode uses the truck's built-in air suspension to pressurize the battery, enabling it to drive in water up to 31 inches deep for 30 minutes. Sony Honda Mobility has announced an agreement with Tesla to adopt the North American charging standard for its Afeela EVs, which will start sales in 2025, first from the United States and later in Japan. This also makes SHM the first company in Japan to adopt the NACS standard and have access to Tesla's V3 and V4 superchargers. Tesla Korea's X account posted this image on X, and nobody really knows what this means, but most people are speculating this means FSD is about to enter the Korean market, which I think is getting some people excited today. I mean, that's a pretty bold thing to do for Tesla Korea's, X account, to just post this image of code, essentially. So this does appear to be a pretty big rumor that Tesla is starting. Tesla Scope reports that Actually Smart Summon and Full Self-Driving V12.5.4 have now been rolled out to over 75 to 90% of eligible vehicles after today's wave is complete. Vision Autopark for Cybertruck is now on 90 to 100% of Cybertrucks. What an exceptional end to September. Fortune actually wrote this article that is headlined, "Why Tesla's Right to Give Elon Musk a $56 billion pay package." Says, quote, "Most casual observers and even many media reports are failing to understand the nature of the package. Based on our research as finance professors, our conclusion is that Musk was unlikely to earn anywhere near that much at the time of the grant, and if he did, it would be well-deserved. In the end, consider a simple question. Would you share 1% of the gains every time a company's CEO doubles your money?" Tesla's shareholders decided they would. And from my understanding, we still have not gotten a final ruling on Elon Musk's compensation package in the Delaware Chancery Court. But given just how long this delay process has taken, I imagine it's gonna be fully sent off and approved. Considering it was almost the exact same percentage of new investors that voted yes also for that compensation package. Don't quote me on this, but I believe the percentage that voted yes for this was 73-ish% this time, and last time it was like 74%. It was just 1% off, or lower, I should say, than the last vote back in 2018. Now, here on the day today, we did get some good news, okay? Core PCE came in at 0.1%. The estimate was 0.2%. Fed Waller kind of gave us a heads up on this, so I don't think it caught the markets by too much of a surprise, but that's overall good news. Personal income month over month disappointed, came in at 0.2%. The estimate was 0.4%, so it came in 50% below estimates. And personal spending also disappointed at 0.2% month over month. Last month was 0.5%. The estimate was 0.3%. So spending is starting to slow down. And I think that is some of the weakness potentially you are seeing in some areas of our markets. Consumers spending less money when consumer spending money is over 72% of US GDP a year is not exactly a great sign for economic activity. Also, incomes not rising as fast is also not good. You want to see incomes start to really outpace inflation and catch up to some of the inflationary pressures you have seen over the past couple of years. And that's clearly not happening as of last month. As far as Tesla option activity today, you have seen 45 different trades totaling $18.4 million with a positive order value of 84%. It looks like we're going to see another big day as far as option activity today, but it's Friday, so you tend to see less option activity just on a Friday in general because, theta, which is the amount of value your contracts go down each day, does apply over the weekends as well. So your theta decay applies for Saturday and Sunday. So you don't tend to see as much option activity on a Friday, but we're still seeing some very good numbers with some very good positive order values. It looks like today you're seeing volume of about 59% calls and 41% puts for today's expiration. For next week's expiration, you're seeing volume of almost 62% calls and 38% puts. So almost 2 times as many calls being bought than puts. So that's definitely looking good. And if we take a look at the short position, it's sitting at 2.77% short interest of free float, $19.59 billion currently sold short in Tesla stock, totaling 77.08 million shares. You have return shares today of 690,000 and borrowed shares of 512,000. That means you're actually seeing about 178,000 shares that are being essentially covered on today, which is multiple days now in a row of, a sizable amount of shares being covered on. Short sellers are actively covering on their short positions. They don't want to be exposed to the upside in Tesla stock being short. That's not how you make money if you short a stock. You want the stock to fall. And clearly, there's a lot of people that think Tesla stock's going higher over the near term, including myself. I really can't make a strong bear thesis on Tesla until after October 10th. That's where the bear thesis could become a lot stronger, and we'll talk about that more in the next video. I highly recommend you guys watch that. But from now until October 10th, I don't think there's really anything to slow down Tesla unless deliveries were to come in like really bad October 2nd, which I don't think that's going to happen. Dan Ives just said this morning, quote, "We believe Tesla beats the street's 462,000 unit delivery boogie with whisper numbers around 465 to 470,000 range. We could see a 470,000 plus number on the heels of strong China demand this quarter. After a bumpy first half for Tesla, we see a much stronger second half ahead, being led by China." With that said, you are seeing really a broader market rally today. The percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average is up to 67.31%. You got about 5% of stocks breaking above their 50-day moving average today, so that's pretty strong. You can also see the massive outperformance in the equal weight S&P as well. The equal weight S&P is breaking out right now, hitting a new all-time high and really just accelerating over the past couple of days. RSP today is up 0.85%. The RSP is the equal weight S&P. So taking 500 stocks and saying what's the average return of 500 stocks in a day, and that's what gives you the return for the day of this ETF. Now, the market cap weighted S&P is like almost 40% weighted to big tech or Mag 7, if you will, which Mag 7 today is not doing nearly as good. Nvidia is down almost 3%. Meta's down 0.5%. Google's up 1%. Google's been doing well the last couple of days. Microsoft down 0.5%. Amazon down 1.5%. And Apple is up 0.1%. So like, big tech is actually weighing down the index, which is what I would expect to happen if we're truly going to get a soft landing. I mean, you wouldn't want to be overweight in big tech. You'd want to be in other areas. Now, nonetheless, 2 and 10-year yield curve inversion is still uninverted. Now, 18 basis points. We did hit a high of about 23 basis points uninverted, but it doesn't look like you're going to invert anytime soon again, which actually means recession should be on your radar, because typically when you uninvert is when you're just a couple of months away from a recession. And now here on the day today, you can see the Dow is massively leading. The Dow is up 0.97%. The Russell is even leading that, up 1.51%. S&P is basically flat today, and the NASDAQ is down 1/3%, which this is exactly what I've been talking about. If you wanted to be bullish, you want to be bullish on interest rate sensitives, on Russell 2000, on cyclicals, and you're seeing that today. The Dow is outperforming. The Russell's outperforming. Cyclicals, small caps, outperforming. Makes a lot of sense. If we take a look at Tesla's stock on a technical basis, pull up my favorite indicators. The RSI is at 66.7. So honestly, having a red day or two wouldn't hurt Tesla stock. You're not overbought yet, but you're pretty close to being overbought. Now, when Tesla does go overbought, it can really start to rally after that point. Like, going overbought doesn't mean the stock needs to fall. In fact, when Tesla goes overbought in the past, it tends to continue to go overbought, sometimes for weeks on end. So if we're getting to that point and you get overbought, potentially there could be another multi-week rally coming, and that would kind of align with where we are now heading into the October 10th event. Nonetheless, a red day or two, I don't think would hurt the relative strength for Tesla. Now, the MACD line is positive 10.31, signal line is positive 7.26. That looks good, and it looks like you are climbing yet again, which, if other rallies are guides to what Tesla stock could do, you've still seen a very small move higher in the MACD, and you could see the MACD line potentially extend up to 20 before this thing's said and done, which would be about 2 times as high as it is today. So this also supports there's room for Tesla stock to go on a bit of a rally here, especially as big tech does get sold off and capital gets dispersed into interest rate sensitives, into small caps, into cyclicals, which Tesla is interest rate sensitive, but it's also a very cyclical company in nature. So there's a lot of reasons you would want to own Tesla if we do go into a soft landing, which is what the market is currently pricing in. So with that said, let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.